Klarna, the Swedish buy now, pay later giant, was founded in 2005 after co-founder Sebastian Siemiatkowski spent a year working for an accounts receivable agency where he realized there had to be a better way for online purchases than credit cards. 16 years later, the company is worth almost $50 billion, making it Europe's highest valued startup. From the outside, Klarna looks like a regular boring credit company, but on the inside, they actually have a genius growth strategy. It's one of the best I've ever seen, and we'll get into that in this video. Buy now, pay later has quickly become a huge market. A large part of younger audiences, especially Gen Z, they're shying away from credit cards, giving way for buy now, pay later companies. Klarna's buy now, pay later product, called Pay in 4, splits a purchase into 4 payments spread over 6 weeks, with no interest or dues if payments are made on time. And this obviously speaks to customers since it increases their purchasing power and cash flows so they can buy things they might not be able to purchase outright. And one of the main reasons for Klarna's success is that the revenue doesn't come from their customers, but from their merchants. For merchants to use Klarna on their site, they'll have to cough up a 2 to 8% fee on each transaction, which is considerably higher than traditional payment processors like Visa or MasterCard that charge a mere 3%. So why would any merchant willingly sign up to use Klarna? It's all about conversions. According to Klarna, their buy now, pay later product boosts conversion rates by 20% and average order values by 20 to 80%. And that's a pretty good deal for e-commerce companies who usually average low single-digit conversion rates. Every customer counts for e-commerce companies. Klarna now works with 250,000 retailers across 20 markets. Nike, Lululemon, Etsy, and that's just to name a few. And their Pay in 4 is accepted at over 60,000 brick-and-mortar locations in the United States alone. This two-pronged approach attracting both customers and merchants has resulted in impressive growth. In 2020, gross merchandising volume was $53 billion. That's up 46% year on year, and 90 million customers were using Klarna to make over 2 million transactions every day. And what's even more interesting is that 7 out of 10 buy now, pay later customers prefer buy now, pay later over credit cards. So what's the secret to Klarna's success? Is their ingenious growth loop. So what's a growth loop? Traditionally, the best way to build a company has been to build a great product, get it out in front of a customer through different marketing channels, and optimize your strategy based on performance. So a classic framework for growth looks a little bit like this. First, you get the product in front of a customer, you engage the customer, get them to take the first step, such as registering an account. You intrigue the customer so they want to come back, and you start generating a revenue from the customer. And lastly, you persuade the customer to refer their friends back to the product. While this is a solid framework where success can effectively be measured, it has its disadvantages because this way of thinking leads to silos within companies. Different departments own different areas of a business. Marketing, they own customer acquisition, product, they own retention, sales owns revenues, and so forth. However, these departments also have different KPIs that measure success, and with the silo structure, success in one department can mean failure in another. If, for example, marketing's KPI is site landings and product is conversions, marketing could theoretically improve their KPI by improving site landings, even if they were low quality leads, which might lower the overall conversion rate, which results in products KPIs suffering. You can obviously see the problem here. And even if there was a perfect world where this funnel aligns perfectly, the only way to increase growth is to pour more money into the top of the funnel, which over time leads to an ineffective growth strategy. But there is a more efficient way to build a customer base, one where growth is built into the product. It is called the growth loop. A growth loop is a closed feedback system where the output from the system feeds back into the input. The product is designed to attract more customers in itself, leveraging its existing user base to attract new users, which lowers the customer acquisition cost. An added benefit is also that since the loop is built into the product, it's much more difficult to replicate than a general marketing strategy. Building a loop is not a new concept. Nir Eyal describes a similar model in his book Hooked, where he shows a 4-step model for building addictive products. That is, products where users come back again and again. The first step is a trigger, which leads to users performing an action. This action involves some type of variable reward, which gives users satisfaction, but also leaves them wanting more. And this leads to an investment from the user in anticipation of future rewards, which leads back to the trigger. Hooks and loops work in a similar way. The former is generally used to refer to customer retention and the latter for customer acquisition. And the difference lies in the action step, where a hook is designed to create an addictive behavior, whereas the loop is designed to expose the company to new customers. So how does Klarna's growth loop work? The growth loop starts with the customer seeing Klarna's pink logo at a retailer's checkout and discovering the Pay in 4 feature. To Pay in 4, the customer needs to download the Klarna app to get started. And once in the app, Klarna focuses very little on their core product, buy now, pay later. Instead, they focus on in-app shopping. They focus on different features that can drive engagement in the app, such as price drop notifications, loyalty programs, and they also show ads from merchants. And since customers need to visit the app 3 times over the coming 6 weeks to pay their financing, Klarna has a lot of time to drive engagement and visit frequency. It will prompt users to create wish lists, sign up for price drop notifications. They want you to track your packages through Klarna. It will incentivize customers visiting the app to start shopping through the Klarna app with its loyalty program, but also because it has a lot of first-party data on what you're shopping, so they know what you probably want to shop next. And Klarna mainly focuses on fashion and beauty retailers, which have a higher purchasing frequency and usually emotional and social dimension attached to the items purchased, which leads to a higher word-of-mouth advertising than other product categories. This combined with a good product experience and a good selection of merchants drive higher usage, which leads to customer loyalty. And this is a genius strategy in 2 ways. First, the Klarna logo attracts customers interested in buy now, pay later, which increases the conversion rate for merchants. This piques other merchants' interest, who are always keen to increase customer conversion rates. This product market fit and customer loyalty leads to an incredible leverage for Klarna when it comes to merchant acquisition and partnerships, which means Klarna can get on even more merchants' websites, attracting even more customers, which makes them even more attractive for merchants. Since the more well-known the Klarna brand is, the higher the likelihood the customer will use it. Brand awareness and adoption receives an incredible boost when their logo is on every single product page of a major retailer's website. Partners and brands are their marketing strategy, and Klarna has been willing to spend big on promotional campaigns to close deals with brands, and this feeds into a type of virtuous cycle of market awareness, which triggers something close to FOMO, fear of missing out, from retailers and merchants, since the e-commerce business is so competitive. If one competitor has a lower friction checkout process, that might be the end of your business, because customers might prefer shopping at their business compared to yours. This means that Klarna's customer acquisition model is incredibly cheap, since merchants are effectively paying Klarna to advertise and grow their own customer base on the merchants' websites. The second part of their genius strategy is to focus on their app. Klarna uses buy now, pay later to get customers hooked on shopping in their app. This is genius because value accrues to those who own customer demand. All internet businesses aim to own your attention. Search, Google, Talk, Facebook, shopping products, Amazon, and Klarna, they obviously want you to think of them first when you want to go shopping. Every time you decide you want to shop something, they want you to open up the Klarna app. With Pay in 4, Klarna hopes that they can hook customers to come back to their app for their next shopping adventure. If Klarna can be the first touch point in a customer shopping spree, they can take a much larger chunk of the pie. Not only that, they can actually leverage ads in the app to get merchants to pay Klarna to get their customers to shop with them again. And according to David Sykes, Klarna's president of North America, Klarna is now the 3rd most important customer acquisition channel for their merchants after Google and Facebook. That's insane. The entire loop is actually incredibly insane. To summarize, merchants put Klarna's logo on their website because they need increased conversion rates and order values. Customers start using Klarna because it decreases friction in their shopping process. Customers then start using Klarna's app regularly for shopping, leading them to start purchasing through the app instead of at the original merchant. And merchants now have to buy ads in Klarna's app to attract their original customers back. This is a very powerful position for Klarna, and there's not much merchants can do about it because they need that conversion rate. Globally, Klarna now has over 90 million customers, and they are clearly becoming a dominating platform in the e-commerce space. It's going to be incredibly exciting to see how they will grow going forward.